We'll open by connecting the Commonwealth Research Commercialization Fund to another legislative priority, the Commonwealth Research and Technology Strategic Roadmap. As you all know well, the CRCF advances technology and economic development in the Commonwealth by investing in research and commercialization. The state wants us to focus those investments in areas that are our strengths and the Commonwealth strategic priorities. So you will see references to the roadmap in the guidelines on our website and elsewhere. You'll also see links. You will have noted when submitting your LOIs that the technology sectors for applications and therefore letters of intent needed to be tied to priorities in the roadmap. You saw those in the appendix and elsewhere in the guidelines. If you'd like to learn more, follow the links that are available in the guidelines or on our website. The General Assembly and the Governor appropriated $4.8 million for the CRCF for FY13. And as you see, up to $1.5 million of that can be for the combined awards for the SBIR and STTR matching funds program. I'll mention that they also appropriated $4.8 million for the second year of the biennium, FY2014, and we will work hard to preserve those funds. We envision one FY13 solicitation, that's the one that is underway now, and we mentioned that there are 5 eligible programs. We'll touch on them as we move forward. The CRCF, though, is not the only source of investment monies to advance commercialization, and many of you are probably aware of the GAP Funds program at CIT, which received a $3.2 million appropriation for this year. The GAP Funds is a family of seed and early stage investment funds that places near equity and equity investments in Virginia-based technology companies, life sciences companies, and clean tech firms. And now we will circle back to the CRCF. We are already, of course, on that second line of the schedule. We are 2 weeks from the application deadline. They must be submitted by 11:59 p.m. on Friday, January 18th. A few months down the pike, in late April, we expect to announce awards. And you'll note in the application that we provide a date of June 3rd as the earliest recommended or permitted start date for your projects. You certainly may start them later, but this few-week period allows us time to prepare the award agreements for the award recipients to review them, sign them, and then for us to actually arrange for the disbursements of the initial tranche. The first, the sequence of the programs here are those initially for academia and nonprofit research institutes and organizations, and then we move into those for the private sector. The matching funds program is the traditional CRCF program, and this is for colleges, universities, and nonprofit research institutions in Virginia. The level or the type of research may be anywhere along the research continuum, maybe proof of concept, or it may be earlier. Probably not, we don't expect that it would be later. What we would like to bring out, though, is that commercialization is nevertheless a focus, regardless of where your work is performed along that research continuum. The matching funds programs tells us in legislation that the funds are designated, your matching funds must be designated for the commercialization of qualified research or technology, so please keep that in mind. You have 11 eligible primary technology sectors, as you see here, and those are all called out in the roadmap and in your guidelines as well. A one-to-one match is required, and this program, the match may be from a grant or contract that you already have, and whose funds are specifically in that, excuse me, aligned with a one-to-one match for your proposed period of performance. So if you have, for instance, a $100,000 grant that began last year and ends in 12 months, and you're applying for a $50,000 award, that would align nicely if you will spend that $50,000 grant during your proposed CRCF period of performance. You may not count as matching funds, and I'm putting count in quotes, the $50,000 that you have already expended. The matching funds, let's see, I think there's someone who's not on mute, so if you'll put your phone on mute, please. If you are submitting a proposal between now and March 31 that requires matching funds, that's also an eligible source. And if an award were made, it would be contingent upon your successful receipt of the federal or other award that you are seeking. If you have an existing award, as you see in the bullet, this project, or excuse me, a CRCF award may support work that you are already doing, as well as a new project. And you see a couple of other bullets that awards are up to $100,000. The Facilities Enhancement Loan Program is the other program that's available to higher education and, in fact, also political subdivisions, but I don't believe anybody on the call is involved in this particular program. If you are, we can address this after everyone else has signed off, or anyone who's not interested has signed off. I will mention, though, that this is an important program because it specifically supports the construction, the outfitting, retrofitting of facilities like wet labs and others that are used for the commercialization of technologies. And we know that that has often been a shortage and a concern in our technology community. Excuse me. The next three programs are specifically for the private sector. And the first one is the commercialization program, which, as you all will have noted, is for young companies in Virginia, and it supports 4 specific technology areas in proof of concept work. The eligibility criteria that you see here is also called out in your guidelines, and we'd ask that you be attentive to it. You'll have an incorporation date that allows you to be just over a year old, and Virginia is the principal place of business for both your firm and the CEO. As with other CRCF projects, the project must be performed in Virginia. And this is another aspect of associating this project to support young companies. Funding may have been received from founders and family and not from other external investment sources. A one-to-one match is also required in this program. And one of the things that we will ask you to address in your application, these are important criteria, they're certainly examined and they're even called out in legislation, is we expect to see some demonstrable economic development potential from the outcomes of your work, from the commercialization outcomes, and, as you see in this next bullet, a reasonable probability of enhancing our national and state competitiveness, and our national and global competitiveness in this particular technology area. In this case, awards may be up to $50,000. For those of you that are applying, we think you are already aware of the criteria permitting 2 awards that you see at the very bottom of this slide with the asterisk. If there are any questions, feel free to ask us later. The SBIR and STTR matching funds programs are separate from the application process, but they are very similar, and so we have tied them together here for the purposes of our overview. The eligibility is associated with Virginia-based businesses that received an SBIR or STTR Phase 1 or Phase 2 award, and those awards need to have been targeted to the 4 areas that you see up above: cybersecurity, IT for K-16 education, life sciences, and modeling and simulation. In fact, the same areas that we saw in the commercialization program. You see slightly different dates here for dates of incorporation, but again, you see that we're targeting young companies. The criteria for performance are slightly different in that at least 51% of the company's employees must be working in Virginia. When it says reside in Virginia, it's actually less about their residential address, and it addresses where they work, so that they must work in Virginia. And at least 51% of the company's property must be located in Virginia. In this case, the match is fulfilled by the SBIR or the STTR award. So it's a little bit different than the other programs. One thing that we'd like to call out is that your proposal should address what you intend to do with the CRCF monies. It's not about what you are doing in your SBIR or STTR award. We do ask for that to be summarized in a abstract summary at the very beginning of your proposal narrative. The rest of it really focuses, though, on what you are going to do with this CRCF award. One thing I neglected to say earlier is that for the commercialization addresses the duration of the award or the period of performance. For the awards that are in the range of $50,000, so commercialization, SBIR, and STTR, we're envisioning something along the lines of 6 months, maybe up to 12. The matching funds period of performance is envisioned or certainly accepted if it's longer, closer to 12 months. Sometimes they are a bit more, but 12 months is a fairly standard and very accepted period of performance for the Matching Funds Award. And talking about the SBIR and STTR, as you see from this, say, 6-month period of performance or thereabouts, it is not expected and not required to mirror your SBIR or STTR period of performance. This particular proposal, or these proposal templates and your commercialization program proposal templates, each have a financial table. And if you find that you don't need all of the space for narrative right before the applicant table, just drag up that horizontal line to eliminate this space.